Jacobs, the balance to this episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. Be sure to subscribe to the Kim Jacobs Show right on YouTube. Turn on your notification bell to all so you never miss a beat. And guess what? Every time you watch, you're going to receive a real, relevant, and relatable guest that's going to share with you a piece of the puzzle on this journey called life that will help you be able to manage just a little bit smoother. At the end of the day, the Kim Jacobs Show goal is to be able to provide balance to the world, one household at a time.
Kim Jacobs Show. You're watching Kim Jacobs Show.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. How are you, Dorian?
Oh, I'm super excellent. How are you?
I'm doing super excellent, wonderful, fabulous, talented, everything, all that good stuff. I'm doing super fabulous. I am so happy to have you here today. You know what? I know I encountered you before at the Hungry for Greatness training, right?
Yes.
And I think we were in a group together.
We were in a small group together, and I loved your energy, and I've been so excited to talk to you. I've seen it on my calendar. I'm like, I can't wait to spend some time chatting with you.
Well, the same here. I'm super excited about it, and hearing what you were talking about in that small group setting, I said, you know what, this young man needs to just share his story with everyone across the globe that will listen and take a moment to just hear your journey is what I really want people to be able to walk away with today. And also just for people to hear some tips from you, because you're like a very wise young man. How old are you? Am I okay to ask that?
I'm 20 years old right now.
Get out of here. The things that you share, Dorian, are so profound. And you're seeking mentorship from people like Les Brown and the greats that are in the world. And you at 20 years old, you're in those circles. So you're not just like on the outside, you're on the inside in the inner circle trainings and being able to really hone in. And what is your point of even being a part of groups like that when you sat in on the Hungry for Greatness program?
I just want to learn as much as I possibly can from the best that I possibly can. I think part of my appeal is I'm young, I'm 20, and because of that I can speak to a very particular audience, but I also realize there's some limitations to being a 20-year-old, right? So I want to pull on the wisdom of some people who have a little bit more time on the planet, so that we can kind of create something inside of me that's powerful, pulling from both of those things.
Well, I know your family's very proud of you, right?
Definitely.
Oh, man. I hope you told your mom, your dad, are they going to be watching?
I think they should be tuning in at some point, yes.
Okay. I hope everybody's watching because we're going to have a great time today with Mr. Dorian, and we're going to learn some great information from him. And the things that he's going to share with us are things that, guess what? We'll be able to share with our own children he'll talk about a specific age category that he targets and talks to and empowers, but all of us, no matter what our age, will be able to learn and to glean from this young man. So share the broadcast and invite everybody you know to tune in. I will also, just from a housekeeping perspective, I'll put this link here in case anybody wants to come on and say, hey, I have a comment or a question directly. Dorian, what happens is periodically people in the actual community, they'll type questions or they'll share comments. So it may be some direct questions throughout today's broadcast that people have of you. Okay.
Excellent.
All right. I think you were born for this, right?
I'm ready.
All right, everybody. Listen, right after this commercial break, we're going to go ahead and deep dive into our conversation. And what are we calling this today, Dorian? What would you title this?
I think we're going to talk about a couple things. How can young people stay well and balanced? I love your the balanced doctor talking about staying balanced in this unbalanced world, we could call it, but also for adults who are supporting young people, how they can do that and empower them to be the happiest, healthiest, most balanced versions of themselves. So we're going to come at it from both angles today.
Typing. And okay, this is already that's a mouthful in itself. So how can young people stay well and balanced, as well as how to empower young people? That's what we're going to be talking about today, right here. I'm going to pop that up so you can make sure hopefully you're taking notes, because I encourage everybody to take notes. Have a notebook or journal, pen, pad, your note-taking device on your phone, any way to capture what's being shared. So anyway, how can young people stay well and balanced, and how to empower young people on their journeys, especially if you're, I wouldn't consider myself too old, but I'm 51, Dorian. So if
Mhm.
you're my age and you're trying to encourage some young people, we're going to learn exactly how to do that on today's episode. We'll be right back right after this commercial break. Thank you, Dorian.
Thank you.
I'm attorney Kenneth D. Snow, and at the Snow Legal Group, justice is our job.
For more than 20 years, Attorney Snow has been fighting for justice and winning cases in the Carolinas by providing aggressive representation in criminal defense, domestic violence, family law, serious injury, and wrongful death. If you've been injured or lost a loved one in an accident, including tractor trailer or rideshare, you need the Snow Legal Group by your side, fighting for justice and fighting for you. Visit snowlegal.com. Call 704-358-0026 for a free virtual consultation. Located at 6827 Fairview Road, Suite D in South Park.
All right, everyone. We are back. We're back with Dorian. And Dorian is a coach, workshop leader. He has helped over 4,000 young people over the last 5 years. Knows that young people are 40% of the population and 100% of the future. And he is committed to bringing out their possibilities and the empowerment that he has been gifted to bring to their generation. So I'm so excited about having you here today, Dorian.
I'm so, like I said, I'm grateful to be here. I'm sitting here smiling ear to ear.
So talk to us and tell us, how did you even get involved in this type of work? What kind of catapulted you or made you decide that this is it for me when you went through your own journey up to the age of 20 so far? So what happened in your journey that made you decide this is going to be your passion?
You know, catapulted is the perfect word to talk about it. It was a 2x4 to the head. When I was about 15, I realized that I had, over 10 years of formal education, and to all the good things that formal education talks about. I knew about math, sort of. I knew about science. I definitely knew about reading and writing and history and geography and all of those things. But as far as some of the other things that you kind of need to know to be a human being, like having a heart, and
That's pretty important, right?
thinking you're catching feelings for someone or falling in love, or having a mind that talks to you. And sometimes my mind says some pretty cool or funny or inspired stuff, but sometimes it's talking to me and it's kind of concerning or scary sometimes. Like, where is this coming from? This makes no sense. Having a body, in all aspects, not just how to feed it, but having a nervous system, that needs other nervous systems to regulate, having a community, having friendships, having challenging life experiences, having really blissful life experiences that don't make sense necessarily. Like all of that, I realized, wow, I'm dangerously behind in this aspect of my education. And it really caught up to me because I was having some different challenges, and it felt really shaky being a human being, basically, right? It just felt like this, what is this experience? And am I the only one who this is intense for? Because a lot of us, we make our hair look really nice and we dress pretty and we have our cool sweaters on and we post our nice things on social media. But it is really actually a big deal being a human being.
Yes, it really is.
No joke. And I was kind of starting to realize that. And I said, I want to learn as much as I can about being a human being. I don't want to major only in math, science, reading, writing. I want to major in having a heart and having a body and having if you want to go into a spiritual realm, whatever you want to call it, a spirit or a soul or a connection to something greater. I want to learn as much as I possibly can about that. And I started meeting mentors and different people who brought me into this world. And my first mentor was a man named Andre Salvage. And I started doing martial arts with him and studying Kung Fu. And there was so much I was learning from him that really was starting to answer some of those questions. And from there, it was just like, I seek out mentorship. I want to learn from anyone I can learn from, and really answer that question for myself, but also for young people. How can we be the best human beings that we can possibly be in a world that doesn't always teach us that or encourage that necessarily?
That is so profound. And so as you've been on this search or this journey to determine how to be the best human being, when you before I even go into that, I want to go back for a second, because you said you just want to learn about having a heart.
Hmm.
having existence is what I'm thinking that I'm hearing from you.
Mhm.
So in your search for having existence, what did you find out about your own heart in the process? Because in order for you to now be able to teach other people how to have a good heart, there was something that triggered in your own life. What was that for you?
I think we talk a lot about kindness and non-judgment and unconditional love, but I really started to see what that means. Like what it really means to let go of judgment and just and not make judgments. And I know we make judgments as little kids because we label things and judge things and say good, bad. I like that, I don't like that. But
Right.
when we move through the world from a place of judging everything, we can't really be present with each other
That's
because
right.
we're in this world of labels as opposed to this world of like direct contact, however you want to understand that. So what I was really starting to learn was what is unconditional love? What does it feel like to be grounded myself and to be around people who are grounded, where their nervous system really is stable, where they're not in fight
Right.
or flight. Most people today live in a perpetual state of fight or flight, which is the sympathetic nervous system. And when you're with someone in that space, it's really hard to feel that connection
Right.
because you're trying to run from a tiger on some level. So it's
Correct.
really hard to be in that space of love. So I was starting to, and I mean, love is you can't define it. It's hard to label it. It's hard to name it. But I was having direct contact with something really powerful within myself and to see how everything changes when love is present. One of
I
my
love this.
said when love is present, anything is possible. That's how you see pictures of mothers or videos of mothers like lifting the car off their kid.
That's right.
What's going on there? There's that alchemy of the our life experiences being transformed in the
Right.
of love. So I really started to just see how powerful love is because I also started to meet people, right? I grew up in a very privileged background in a lot of ways, and everyone has their unique challenges and their unique gifts and whatever it is. But I started meeting people who went through far worse than I could ever imagine, who
Right.
are living some of the most beautiful lives I've ever seen. And so I was like, I want to understand how that works, what kind of alchemy, what kind of inner work you had to do to take that and turn it into something so beautiful. And that was inspiring to me, that possibility of saying, it's not about what I was given, it's about what I'm going to do with what I've been given. And that was like,
That's good.
oh, this world is something else. There's beauty here.
Wow. Everybody, you should be tagging as many young people as you can. That's what I just started tagging my children. And I just want any young people to get on here because this is like unbelievable what you're saying.
Hmm.
This is absolutely incredible that once you start loving people unconditionally, and it sounds like the people that you've encountered, it wasn't based on their economic their status.
Hmm.
It was based on the fact that they just have a genuine connection with whoever their higher power is and just the joy that permeates from that in
Mhm.
them is what I'm thinking. I'm hearing, right?
Yeah, definitely. Because I have a lot of different mentors now. Because, like Les Brown says, if you're unwilling to learn, no one can help you. But if you're willing to learn, no one can stop you. So I've been really clear. Like, I want to train with people who I feel that heart connection from, who
That's
I trust them with my heart, and all of them define that higher power differently, right? But regardless of how they define it, there's some purpose, there's some sincerity in them that I've connected to that is it. It's like their guiding light, their connection to that peace which passeth all human understanding, whether they call it God or Allah or their spirit guides or their angels or source or divine light or whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Because we all know people who talk about their higher power, but it's all in the message. They're not their messenger. And then we all know people who, regardless of what it is they connect to, you feel different around them.
yes.
Relaxes around them. And those are the people that I've wanted to bring into my life because it feels really good to be around them, one, but you also kind of catch that wisdom and that sincerity. And I want to use them as a jumpstart.
Well, I feel like your shoulders went down some, which makes me feel like we're kind of connected here and you're relaxed. When you first start on the interview and everything, you're like, but I see you just like, hey, I'm here. Kim and I are just having a conversation. We just chilling. So that makes me feel really good, Dorian, for sure.
I'm glad you caught that.
I did. I caught that. I saw when we first started. It's like, hey, I'm relaxed. I'm relaxed. I think too that a lot of times we hear Les Brown say that it's hard for you to see yourself when you're in the picture frame. So
Yeah.
it sometimes takes outside people to tell you some things that they're observing. Have you had people in your journey tell you some things that they observed that maybe you didn't see in yourself on this journey?
Definitely. I've had it's funny. It has to happen a lot of times for you to start believing it sometimes, or at least with me. I mean, some people, it just takes one person seeing it in them. But for me, it was like, I had some things to work through to start to see it. So I needed a lot of different people to come across my path and not just see the possibility in me, but sort of speak life into me
Mm.
and into my gifts and into my abilities. I believe everyone has gifts and natural abilities. Like, I believe we were sent here with cargo. We're on some kind of mission. However you want to define it, it's up to you. But there's something we're here to share.
That's right.
And if you're not sharing what you're here to share, and it's not that you need to be speaking on the Kim Jacobs show, right? Some people's gift is making things with their hands. Some people's gift is in the kitchen. Some people's gift is writing or drawing, whatever it is. We all have special gifts. And so I've definitely had people identify things in me. And more than that, like you said from the beginning, catapult me and say, you're going to go into this space. It's going to be uncomfortable,
Yes.
whatever, go. And learn from that space. And so what that was able to do was bring me to a place inside myself of feeling, wherever you put me, I'm going to make it work. Because I was thrown into the blender of like, just get it together, teach that class, assist that class, even though they're your own age and it's going to be really awkward and uncomfortable. Go for it, right? And in that, if you do that enough, and one other thing I'll say, it's just coming out. This is what happened.
Right. We're just having a conversation and everyone's just listening in.
I remember one of my first speeches I gave to some ninth graders, and one of my teachers was going to come observe me just to see how I did. And he called me that morning. He said, "Are you ready for this?" And I said, I don't know where it came from. I just said, "If I absolutely flop, will you still love me?" It was like a very like primal thing. He gets really quiet and I just hear him say, "Always." And now whenever I speak or do anything, there's that feeling of like, it doesn't really matter because the love is unconditional. And I had to make that adjustment of when I fall, it's not like falling off a cliff. It's like falling off a trampoline. I'm going to get right back up. So because of that, it wasn't people seeing things in me, but also saying, you're going to mess up. It's all good. It's part of the process. You want to learn, you want to grow, you have to fail your way to success. So that was another really empowering thing, is feeling like even right here talking to you, you're only seeing me. People are just seeing me and you, but I've got a whole circle around me pulling for me in my mind's eye of all the mentors. Like, I'm standing on a lot of shoulders. I'm sure you feel the same way.
Absolutely. Wow. Okay. This is like, I feel like we're at the White House and like I was the president of the United States. I'm like, and I am presenting to you today, Mr. Dorian. Tell me the WK. What is the WK for?
I've got some really sweet, amazing parents. And my mom, she's from Germany. Her last name is Wiederholt, but it's spelled with a W. These Germans, they say Wiederholt, so they pronounce the W as a V. And my dad is Israeli, and his last name is Kassar. So I have my official last name is two last names. It's Wiederholt Kassar, so there's no middle name. But for practical purposes, for my website, for my Instagram, for my presentation, hello everyone. We'd like to introduce you to Dorian Wiederholt Kassar. I'm rolling with the WK. I'm making
Wiederholt Kassar. Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Kim Jacobs Show. I would like to introduce Dorian Wiederholt Kassar. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. So I just roll with WK because it's a whole lot easier for everybody. And eventually, one day I might need to figure out what I'm going to go with. But I like the WK. I
think that is very regal. I just didn't know what it meant. So I said,
that's where it comes from.
Yeah, I was like, where does the WK come from? And then I said, well, maybe I could just ask on the show. And so here we are. And, I'm not a faker. So it's like, I'm like, what is the WK? Help me. And so now I'm able to find out the answer. Listen, everybody
knows.
We're talking here with Dorian WK today. And he says, hey, if I fall, I'm falling on a trampoline and I will get back up. These are just some profound quotes. You can actually put these in some quote boards and there's some big stuff. I'm actually serving as your agent right now. I don't know if you noticed that. I'm putting your quotes here, typing them as you go.
And I appreciate it.
Because you know how you're saying stuff on the show and you're like, I said that? That was profound. You don't know until later when you finally be like, whoosha, and you're breathing again. Then you like go back and look. And this is some great stuff. And another thing that you said that I really love so far for those that are just tuning in is we're here with Cargo to share some things on this journey, gifts and talents that we have, our special gifts. We have to carry those on our cargo train right throughout this journey called life. So I am so honored to have Dorian WK here, and we're going to learn a lot more from him when we come back after this commercial break. Dorian, when we come back, I'd like to know, what can people that are young today, from your perspective, do to stay balanced and just be overall well-rounded individuals? So when we come back, let's tackle that, okay?
Okay.
All right, we'll be right back after this commercial break.
It's not just another day, it's a brand new day, full of all the fun, love, and laughter you and your family create. Silver Shield Security understands feeling at home means feeling safe and happy. No credit checks, no contracts. We offer payment arrangements, and we'll even give you a free door camera. Find out how we can brighten your day even more at silvershield-security.com. Silver Shield Security.
All right, everyone, we are back and we're talking with Mr. Dorian WK today on the Kim Jacobs Show. So from your perspective, what can young people do to stay a little more balanced in life?
There are a lot of different things. I want to start as a natural segue. One thing you can do is spend time around people who you feel balanced around, right? I remember someone when I went off to college, I was on the phone with someone who I learned a lot from, and she said, Dorian, one very simple test for do I want to be around that person is, do you leave being around them more energized or more drained? As just because we can go into the, do I like them on an intuitive level? Do they make me look good? Do they stimulate my brain? Do I think better? Am I inspired? We can do all of that, but we can also just say, like, do I feel good around them? Or is there a feeling inside of like, I really don't want to be around them? Like, we can get that simple, and we can do that with our friends and people like that. We can also do it with, I like to say, find mentors, find people who inspire you, find people who want to feel good at a heart level. Your heart can relax at a soul level if you want to go, where it's just like there's some kind of resonance of we feel connected. I feel like I can relax around you. And also, especially as young people, but this is so critical for everyone, is to spend time around people, I should say, who have a greater vision of you than you have for yourself at that moment. We just talked about this, right? Because if we only spend time around people who see us as we are right now, we'll stay there. But if we see people who accept us exactly as we are right now, and at the very same moment have a vision, can see us, you can't read the label when you're inside the box, like you said, who can see the label a little bit and say, hey, by the way, you did this thing, you made that little movement. And when I've seen people who make that movement before, they're really good speakers sometimes, or they're really good teachers, or they're really good athletes who can identify it. Wow, that'll also help you activate those gifts that you're carrying with you.
Okay, well then let me speak for a moment into your life for a minute here, because it's some things that you're doing, Dorian WK, right? And I've actually personally, I'm not saying something that I'm just saying, oh, this is people flip names around. I've personally traveled around the country with Les Brown, international motivational speaker. We've been filled with rooms of people that are teaching. We're teaching them how to start their own seminar businesses from scratch. And I was in my 20s when this started happening, right? Mm-hmm. I've encountered and been in the same room with Tony Robbins and his father and all of these great notable names, Zig Ziglar, been at the same events, working the tables and things of that nature. There are some things that you do that would put you at the exact same level or higher than like the Joel Osteens or the Tony Robbins or the names that are the greats that are in the motivational world. all of those individuals will eventually grow up as they have, and they're going to grow up and they're going to start handing that baton to someone.
Hmm.
I believe that you, Dorian WK, right?
WK, you got it.
Dorian WK. I believe that you're going to be one of those notable names in history that's
Hmm.
going to go down in history. And some of the things that you do is you command presence. I've already witnessed it in this short period of time. You use direct eye contact, at least virtually, right? So you're using direct eye contact. You have an aura about you that says, I believe what I'm teaching you. I don't just tell you this, but I'm living this. And I want to be a walking, living example of what it is that I'm sharing with you. So I see that in everything that you're doing. Every time that I've encountered you, and I've only encountered you a few times, but each time it's been great and it's been memorable and it's been something that I believe is going to take you to the highest heights possible in the motivational world.
Thank you. Thank you very much. A couple things that you said. The first is, and this is a lesson for young people, but for everyone, this is one of the greatest gifts I got, is when we receive compliments, and I'm practicing doing it right now, is breathe and let it in. When someone speaks life into you, breathe and allow it to come in. Because what I noticed in my training was a lot of us, when things are difficult, intense, scary, we rise up, and we hold our breath. But we actually do a very similar thing when people are loving on us. Because what it does is that touches all of the parts of us that don't feel like they're allowed to be seen or don't feel worthy. And so when we let it in, it actually, that's the way it doesn't go to our head.
That's right.
That's where it goes to our heart. That's where it goes to our soul, because it's actually affirming something we already know on some level, not on an ego level, but on a deep level. So I like to practice that, because I've been in rooms where I see people who are just, everyone's showering them with love, but it almost feels like you said, the aura thing. Like it feels like there's it is not allowed into their force field.
Right. This is good.
The other thing that I want to say to what you said is, because you said some really nice things about me, and I appreciate it. But one thing also is, have people, this is true for everyone, but for young people, have some people in your life who are allowed to take your inventory. This is what I mean. Have some people in your life who, when they call you on your stuff, you'll listen. Now, it's okay to be defensive in that moment. It's okay to push back in that moment, but you need to have some people who, when you go home that night, at a certain point, you're like, ooh, I got to call them back and really hear what they were trying to say to me. It's natural to be defensive, but oftentimes we get feedback and it's really hard to hear. And so on the one level, it's a good practice to be able to hear feedback from anybody.
That's right.
Sometimes that's a hard thing. So to have 1, 2, 3 people in your life who, whatever they say to you,
whatever
they say, Dorian, I just need you to know that was really entitled and disrespectful. Oh, I want to talk to you about that. Let's talk. I'm here with you because I know that you're not trying to attack me.
Right.
You're trying to teach me, but we hear messages like that, and it's like, it feels like a stab to the heart, but it's important to have people who you can listen to that from.
That's right.
Because otherwise, people are going to speak life into you, and you're going to get up to that, oh, I'm so cool, I'm so out. No, one of my teachers, he says, everyone is very special. Everyone is also very common. He said common, he liked to call it. Like we all have unique gifts.
Right.
Every single one of us. So since every single one of us has unique gifts, you're not really that special. So we need that balance of, I'm really special. I'm here on an assignment.
Right.
Special. So it's this weird paradox to reconcile of, I'm super special, just like you. I'm also just like you.
Right.
And we're all super special. And so not to say I'm nothing or I'm everything, but to find that balance of, I am that I am, however you want to call it.
I agree. I totally put a stamp on what you're saying. And I believe too, Dorian, like that no one's better than anyone else. So I do not believe that as I walk through this journey called life, that I'm better than anybody. There are situations and circumstances that make us better off because we are just afforded different opportunities, but it doesn't make me better than somebody else. And so that's why I can have a great relationship with someone that's homeless, as well as I can have a great relationship with the president of the United States and treat them equally the same. So it doesn't matter to me. When I used to be in a pharmaceutical sales, and I covered in the Southeast, the DC area, down in the real heart of DC. And so I would go in and I would sit down with people in the clinic, and then, like sometimes I would bring management with me, and they'd be like, well, you just sitting right amongst the regular crowd. I was like, of course, I'm no different than they are. I just have on a outfit that looks slightly different, but I'm still here to just be able to have a conversation. We do some lunch sometimes. I'll bring lunch to some of them because I know their situation or whatever. And I believe that God has blessed me when I've gone through some situations as a result of how I treated some of those particular people in times when I had it well off, So I don't want to get emotional, Dorian, because you can yank out of an emotion in a show too. But anyway, I can see you feel the same way. Let me put on my glasses for a second here and see if I can get some of these studio audience comments. Wow. Receive feedback, Rose Slade says. Receive feedback and call me on my inventory. Charles says, that's good. That is some good stuff you saying. Another person said, great advice. Good stuff. Good stuff. Oh, I see your comments coming in. Make sure you all keep your comments coming in, and then also feel free to share this broadcast with your friends and coworkers, people you like, people you don't, because everybody needs this advice so we can all get better in life, whether you like them or not, right? So, okay, right after this commercial break, what I'd like to hear from you, Dorian, is what is it that adults can do? Because you're talking to some young people, and parents, I know, will be sharing this. I don't care if it's a watch party, if they're replaying it, if they're slipping it as a part of just, hey, check out this young man, wise beyond his years. But when we come back, I'd like to hear, what can adults do? Because sometimes we miss it. It's like we just cannot, we don't get it. So when we come back, let's talk from that perspective. I'm ready to take some notes on that. All right, we'll be right back, everybody.
My father had 4 of his fingers amputated in a workplace accident. It was the first injured individual I represented, and I knew I had to win that case. When someone walks into my office and they've been injured, I know what they're going through. If you've been injured at work with Hunter and Everett. We've got the experience, so let us help you.
All right, everyone, and we're back. We're back with Dorian WK, and we're talking with him about how we can support the young people in our lives. He's 20 years old. He's helped about 4,000 young people himself over the last 5 years, so he's really passionate about empowering young people. And so what can adults do to help younger people on this journey?
Definitely. I love that question. And I want to name, first of all, I am 20. I don't have kids yet, and so when I speak to parents, the first thing I want to recognize is I do not know what it's like,
Right.
on some level, I know some things. Sometimes I feel like I'm translating teenage speak or tweenage speak, but on some level at the same time, it's like, I want to stay in my lane and realize I know anything I say now will come back to me when I have kids, and any high thing I want to sit on, it's just going to bite me on the back end. So I have to be sort of careful because
that's funny. That's so true. So it's like, I often say this to Dorian, that everything that I say is going to be held against me in the court of law in life. I mean, it could be on the front page of a newspaper, whatever. So I'm always very mindful that, Kim, unless you want this particular comment to come back, remember that it can be resurfaced or whatever. So you are good.
I'm aware of that. I want to be humble about that. But one thing I want to name and highlight is, I want to talk about the nervous system, because I think it's something that's really helpful in this conversation. The fact is I'm 20, right? And until I'm 25, I can say we on this, which is that our nervous systems as young people aren't fully developed.
I'm sorry. Are you... It's not, I know it's not funny, but you're serious. You're like, look, seriously, because our nervous system is not fully developed, then I know you're going to go to a real serious point. But I just thought I would just put a quick comment. The fact that you're like using that, go. Let me
No,
just
no,
let you.
it's funny because this is like, I'm not like, I'm a very like philosophy kind of person,
I
like
know.
religion kind of person. I'm not like a science person very much at all. But when I heard this, I was like, oh, a lot of this makes more sense now. Because the thing is this, as a little baby, to take a little baby, like when they're having a crying fit or an anger fit, their nervous system requires another nervous system, another body to actually run that through them. Right? They don't have the full on, their hardware isn't online yet.
I
So they
agree.
can't do it themselves. But the funny thing is, even as a 20-year-old, I have to be mindful of the fact that my hardware isn't fully online yet. Even though I do a lot of breath work and yoga practices and I meditate and I do all of that, and that helps me be more grounded than many people, I still am mindful. I want to spend time around people who have that calm thing going on. The reason I say that is, even if you have a 12-year-old or a 16-year-old or an 18-year-old, their life experiences require, and I think this is true for everyone, but particularly looking at it from this lens, require other people who are calm, stable, grounded presences, voices, bodies, hearts, minds, in order for them to actually digest that.
Right. I agree.
We can look at the digesting of it. A lot of us walk through life, and by the end of the day, it's like we just have all this stuff stuck to us. Life was just imprinting on us. Oh, I spilled that thing in the morning, and then that person honked at me really loud, and then that person insulted me at work, and then my mom called me and triggered me because when our parents, they often trigger us, and then my brother said that thing and it was really funny, but then he took it too far, and then I checked my bank account and it left something to be desired, or whatever it is. It's like all these things touching us and not actually digesting the life experience.
Right.
All of that's to say, one of the greatest gifts we can give a young person is our calm nervous system.
That's good.
Is a stable system to receive them. Because what that does is they'll feel it. It's like animals. I have a mentor, and he just posted some pictures on Instagram at a zoo, and he had like these amazing animals, and they were just like loving on him, and he was loving on them, because animals see you. Animals know what you feel like, and so do young people. And so, when I walk into a school, I don't feel like my wisdom or my teaching is valuable as much as, it's valuable, but more is I'm calm, I'm present, I'm grounded, and I'm there with you.
I love that.
That's really powerful.
Yes,
Now,
it is.
how you do that, like we just said, is different for everybody, right? Some people are going to want to do some yoga. Some people are going to run. Some people are going to meditate. Some people are going to pray. Some people are going to read, sacred books to kind of stabilize it doesn't matter how you do it.
Right.
But a lot of times adults say, why is my kid acting crazy?
Mhm.
And I have to be cautious to say it, but I'll look at them and be like, look around, like,
Look at yourself. And I do. I 100% from a balanced perspective. I talk to people about how important it is not to mirror the behavior of your child. If they're dealing and they're having an out of control situation, where for you to come in and yell and scream and holler and start pitching a fit too, then that puts the whole situation into a realm of chaos. And versus you saying, listen, I not that I am the adult, because nobody wants to hear that either, but taking it from the perspective that you are the adult and that you have not every adult has a more fully developed mind either, unfortunately, but there are a majority of parents are stable enough to have that calming effect. So I agree with you that just look around the environment and see what chaos you're bringing into the realm of existence that makes people feel that way. What are you doing to provide some level of calm in the situation and staying in control and focusing on the behavior versus attacking the person? Because attacking the person, at least what I've learned in writing my own books, that does not work at all.
I love that you said that, because that's another thing my mentors shared with me is, can you separate yourself from your behavior?
That's right.
So maybe I'm manifesting something kind of crazy that isn't serving me, that's getting me in trouble, something like this. But oftentimes what the world says is this: that thing you're doing is bad, and so you're bad. And the second you label someone bad, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy because they're going to continue to manifest that, as opposed to that thing you're doing. Let's take an honest look at this together. Is that working for you? No. Okay, let's work on that. Not on you. You're perfect, whole, and complete, but let's work on that.
Right.
And when you start to make that shift, it's a lot easier to actually change your habits and modify your behavior because you're not so stuck trying to hate yourself into becoming a better person. That never works. If that worked, we'd all be enlightened by now.
That's correct. And I was looking here on what is this? NPR.org. It's a brain maturity study that was done in October 10th, 2011. And it says under most laws, young people are recognized as an adult at the age of 18, but emerging science out of brain development suggests that most people don't reach their full maturity until the age of 25, which goes to what you were saying. And so it went on to talk about how there are situations where people that are a certain age group would do things that are a little more risky if they have even some friends watching, because again, they're not fully developed. So for instance, a 20-year-old is 50% more likely to do something risky if two friends are watching than if the same person was alone, because then it's like the thrill of it is not there,
Definitely.
So it's pretty bizarre. I was reading through the study to see what they were saying in the school of thought with it. Because it's like you, I love to read and research and to gain the psychological understanding of what's behind the scenes on it.
Definitely, because I think if parents look back at what they were like as kids, what they'll realize is they were doing some things that were unwise as well. They were doing some things that were a little, their parents or their guardians or the adults in their world were saying, just, be a little cautious, be a little aware of that. And this really sunk in for me one day when I found out someone younger than me was driving drunk, who I wasn't working with formally, but I just knew him and I cared about him. And there was an informal mentorship going on. And the nature of it was, the way I found out, I wasn't able to immediately go to him because there was some confidentiality that I was working with. So I kind of had to let it go in that moment and be present with the person I was speaking with and then handle it later. And I was driving, doing my 9 p.m. drive to Safeway, because sometimes I'm like, I just want to go, sometimes I need some special help, but I was going to Safeway and I remembered. And I just started getting so angry, really pissed at this kid and saying, I need to go over there and smack some sense into him, talk some sense into him.
Right.
But what I realized, and this is the beauty of mindfulness and meditation and watching yourself, is I realized I was angry. And then I realized when I get angry, or when people got angry at me, it never helped. I sort of let that anger go for a second. And what I realized was I was terrified. I was really afraid for the safety of this kid who I love and care about and want him to be well. I don't want him to go get into a car accident and kill himself or hurt somebody else.
That's right.
And what I realized was that was terror. It wasn't just fear. It was too much for me to possibly handle. So I turned into anger. And I realized why parents can be jerks sometimes. Because they love us so much, because you love us so much. It's like I really realized for the first time what it means when you say it's like having a piece of your heart outside of your body.
Yes.
Oh my God, how is someone supposed to be calm, centered, and balanced all the time under those conditions? You have a 12-year-old, a 14-year-old, a 16, 18, 15-year-old who's not fully developed.
Right.
And they're a piece of you, your heart outside of your body, and you just want them to live and be well. I really was like, oh, I love parents a lot more now. I was able to let go of some of my judgments and my issues and my gripes, because it really is a challenging situation. But that helped me so much to understand sort of the predicament that we're in and have compassion, because that's something else. That is a really interesting. Yeah, to love can be intense.
Yeah, that's what Hillary said. To love can be intense. Yes, it can be, Hillary. Great comment. And she also said that she shared the broadcast and she's visiting with us from Chicago. Now, you said Safeway, Dorian. Where in the world are you located?
I'm in San Francisco, and I'm in California. I'm the only one in my family who has some kind of love affair with Safeway. I don't know what it is about Safeway, but sometimes I just like to take an evening drive and walk around.
Now, you know what? You really are older than your age for sure for you to want to take just a rendezvous to Safeway. Okay, okay. Listen, Dorian, there are so many parents that are watching today because a lot of them are my age category. So I can see you guys tuning in, and thank you for being here today in the virtual studio audience. But sometimes we just don't get it. We don't get it. And so with you being here, and I finally have a young person here on the Kim Jacobs Show, what is something that you could say to us to help us get it whenever it's like we see these like out of body experiences sometimes with our children, and it's like, I know I'm not raising you like that, or I can't believe you're choosing to do something opposite of what I've taught you to do or trained you to do. So what, help us.
That's a great question. I'll take a stab at it and we'll see. Maybe you can help me with this, because one thing I want to say is, if you're over a certain age right now, and I say this with love and humility, if you're over a certain age, you don't really necessarily know what it's like to be at school and then have them say lockdown drill, right? Someone might come in with an AK-47 and start shooting. You don't really know what it's like on some level to wrap your complete worthiness up in social media, And so there's certain, or to be living, to be going to school wearing these big masks, now everyone's wearing N95 masks in school. And I'm not saying it as a commentary on COVID, but just to be like, I was at college recently and we're wearing our masks to class. We're in full on COVID protocol, and we get an email saying, just so you know, everyone, you'll see some more campus safety on campus today. There's a TikTok challenge out. It's called Bring Your Gun to School Today. And that's the context that we're living in. And so right now, because of COVID, we're at a stage in the pandemic where everyone is losing it in a different way than they were for the first 2 years, it feels like, because we've reopened, but we haven't processed 2 years of collective trauma. So what we're starting to see is more violence, more fist fights, more throwing things, more aggression, more mental health challenges. I mean, the suicide rate, the depression rate, the anxiety rate, all of that's been skyrocketing, and COVID just amplified it. So I know it's kind of an indirect answer to your question, but I just want to set the stage of like, we are in a different time.
Yeah, that sums it up. Go ahead. Keep talking.
So we're in a different time. That's A. B is that if we look at maybe my parents' generation, there was this habit of saying, let's push down our feelings. Let's not feel our feelings. Let's kind of be stoic. That was kind of and that's an interesting thing. Then we kind of went into this new moment. No, let's feel our feelings. Let's be in therapy. Let's process. But as a world, what we're not yet willing to do is stop suffering, to be very direct. So what young people are dealing with is, we're not allowed to repress it, but you're also not really allowed to just be a happy person, because then you're crazy. So given that, you have to hold all of this, and it's more than we've ever held before, and then try to be a functioning member of society. I'll wait, right? Like I'll let that land, because that is a tall order. Be alive at this time. Be aware of everything, because if you're not aware of it, you're a bad person. You're hiding. Feel it, but don't feel it to the point of making peace with it, because again, if you make peace with it on some spiritual level, now your heart is closed. And survive. It's going to be an interesting next 2 years, the ramifications of what we've gone through on a collective level because of that. And so on some level, at least I'll just share my spiritual dimension of how I kind of make sense for me, is because my intro to this work, by the way, was self-defense, was assisting self-defense classes. And what I would do was I would play a character, and it would be a predator basically, and do role plays with people. So we create this really safe place to practice setting boundaries, bringing things up, saying how you feel. And I was the white belt, the 15-year-old with masters and black belts who have been doing this a long time. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, but my teacher said, you have something to bring to this space.
Right.
And so I would put my arm around someone in character, and it's a safe place, but I'm playing this character, and I would feel the fear, or I would feel the discomfort, or I would see the way someone's movement changes when their parent walks in the room at the end to see the fighting. And I would walk out of those classes shaken for 7 days, not feeling like myself, because I was holding so much and trying to take care of everybody because I was seeing really clearly people suffering.
Right.
And so what I had to learn how to do, I remember driving one day with my friend Lakeisha. She said, Dorian, you can't play God. You're not responsible for anyone else's path but your own. I like what Les Brown says. You can't change anyone. So changing yourself is a full-time job. So I had to realize I can't be responsible for your outcome. But when I'm with you, I can be responsible for who I am when I'm with you. I can be responsible for showing up in my integrity, for walking my path, for doing what I need to do to be present with you, to be grounded with you. But I can't necessarily change you. That goes back to the parent thing. We can't, like the only person you have full responsibility for and autonomy over is myself.
That's
right.
good. It's a lot of comments. I'm going to go to a couple of them. First,
Yeah.
I'm typing. If you see me looking a little bit to the side, it's because I'm typing what you're saying. You can't play God. I can't be responsible for your outcome. I can be present with you and grounded with you. I can't change you though as a person. We can't. None of us can change anybody else. All we can do is be the best of ourselves that we can be around the person to model that behavior, and that's it. We can't do anything any more, any less. If they receive it, great. If they don't receive it, great. It's nothing really we can do about it. But this is some good stuff. Oh, wow. Okay. Athena, you said amen to what he said. Rose said, wow. Wow is just an understatement. Pamela Howard said, God has no respecter of person, respecter of person. He uses who he pleases. God is good is what Hillary Gooden said. And I see you. So true. The next couple of years, we need a savior. Yes. Okay, y'all, keep your comments coming in. We're talking today with Dorian, and thank you all for being in the virtual studio audience. Without your participation, the show wouldn't be what it is today. I'm excited to also let you guys know that very soon here, you're going to start seeing the Kim Jacobs Show on Believe in Your Dreams Network. It's going to be released this month, and it'll be in over 200 million households. So I'm so excited about that announcement as well. So be sure to tune in with that. So some great things are happening on the horizon here with the Kim Jacobs Show. And also, if anybody's ever interested in starting your own show from scratch and you want to know the process, well, I've had a show on PBS. I've had a show on the Word Network. I've filmed at the old Jim and Tammy Faye Baker studio, travel, with Les Brown and different things. So, I've been doing this for a while and I'm eager to pour into you the things that I've learned on this journey. So you can go to kimjacobsconsulting.com and I'll be happy to work with you for 1 hour per week for 6 consecutive weeks to train you on what I know to start your own show. Okay. All right. So today's episode is sponsored by getinsured.solutions. Their phone number is 704-499-3616. And if you'd like to learn about some final expense things, then you definitely want to be able to check them out. And then I'll also let you know that another one of our episode sponsors is Lamb Funeral. Lamb Funeral is certified in all 50 states, and they know a lot about the veteran benefits if you're dealing with any kind of death of a loved one. And we know over 800,000 people, unfortunately, have passed away due to COVID-related complications alone. So I'm going to share both of their commercials. And then when we come right back, Dorian, we're going to hear more from you. What do you do personally to be able to find your own peace and your own balance and your own strength and happiness from within? Because you do an empowerment program too. And I do want us to, before we get off, to talk to the adults that are watching how we can get our young people into your program. Okay?
Be great.
All right. So we're going to get ourselves off the screen. In order for me to play this particular commercial, I need to just kind of change the background for a second. And so I'm going to put us off and put the commercial up, everybody.
Lamb Funeral Home has been serving the Cabarrus County in North Carolina and surrounding communities for more than 9 years. Our staff of funeral directors are dedicated to providing the very highest quality of service and continue to be well respected throughout the communities we serve. Our professionals are caring, experienced professionals who understand that each family is unique and has personal requests and traditions. These requests and traditions are the utmost importance to our staff of licensed funeral directors. From the initial care to aftercare, you can entrust your loved one and arrangements to Lamb Funeral Home.
Nothing says I love you more than final expense insurance whole life protection. With funeral advocacy nationwide, saving you and your family 30 to 80% off funerals and cremations. Nothing says I love you more than Get Insured Solutions, LLC. GetInsured.Solutions, 704-499-3616.
All right, everybody. And we are back. We are back with Dorian WK, and he has been shedding some light on some things for us at the age of 20 that I, at 51, just genuinely did not know. I think when I get done with this show today, I have a weekly family meeting with my children automatically. And during that family meeting, we talk about some of their goals, their dreams. We share resources with each other that I would not have knowledge about, and they don't have knowledge about some of the things that I share with them. So we pull all of our resources together. But at this next meeting, I'm going to tell them that I apologize. I apologize because there are some things that you all are experiencing at your age that I just was not aware of until Dorian was kind enough to bring it to my knowledge. So thank you so much for being here today and sharing your wisdom with us. Tell us how you keep your own balance.
The point I want to highlight with that is consistency is the first most important thing, especially in the world how it is right now. You know, if we're looking to the world for our stability, you're going to be looking for a very long time. So because of that, we need to show up for ourselves. And whatever that means to you, it's different for each person. For me, I have a meditation practice that I really enjoy. For me, I get still every day and listen to beautiful music and go into la la land. For me, I have people who I touch base with on a regular basis. You know, there are different things that I do, and you'll find your unique way. But the key I want to highlight is that you make it an appointment that you will show up for. Because if you show up for that appointment will show up for you. That is so important to realize. And you make it such a routine that it doesn't matter if you're feeling good today. It doesn't matter if you're feeling happy today. It doesn't matter if you're feeling depressed today or sad today or joyful and blissful today. You do it regardless. Because what that does is, one, it trains you under each of those circumstances. Because you need that stillness when you're in bliss, by the way, to integrate that bliss into your being. You need that stillness when you're feeling sad to integrate the lesson into your being. So if it's something that is optional, it's not going to have your back in the same way. But when you do it every day, preferably at the same time, whatever it is, it will really have your back in a powerful and surprising way.
That's
so
good.
All I encourage is, I call it stop signs. It's things you set up in your life where you stop, regardless, non-negotiable. I am there for that stop sign because I know that if I'm there for that stop sign, it will be there for me.
That's good. That is so good. Dorian, okay, I'm almost about to yell out, I love you. I mean, I love this young man. This is like a dream come true when you're dealing with a young man that is like, I know the brain isn't fully developed until you're 25 and everything, but he sure is working in a mighty crafty way with yours. God is just shaping and molding you into greatness. And I believe that all of the mentors and trainers that you've been listening to and gaining that wisdom from, it's just seeping through your pores. So I'm so excited about you. So excited. Okay. Consistency is important. Show up for yourself, meditate, get still, go into la la land, have that hard stop. This is stuff that he's sharing that everybody can learn from, not just young people. This is what he's personally doing at the age of 20 to be able to sustain his own balance in his life. All right, tell us about your empowerment program.
Yeah, so one of the things that I do is I do something called empowerment coaching. And I call it empowerment coaching because that's what it's all about for me. I'm not a mental health professional. I'm not pretending to be, but what I am interested in is building mental and emotional wellness, right? Is giving tools to you and putting them in your back pocket and connecting you to a place inside yourself that you maybe can't go by yourself to empower you. I mean, I part of the word is I'm learning a lot about branding and how to present yourself, but the truth is it is empowerment coaching. That's what the outcome is 12 weeks in. So the way that program is set up is it's a 12-week program. We'll meet one-on-one every week. It's for 10 to 18-year-old young men. And that's what it's all about is stepping up. I like to say, maybe there's a challenge right now in your life that is hard for you. Well, you deserve to not carry that with you that much longer, right? If you have a challenge in middle school, let's work that out in middle school so you don't bring it to high school. So you don't bring it to college, so you don't bring it for the rest of your life. One of the things that inspired me was realizing I could hold on to my challenges for as long as I want, but I'd rather let them go earlier because that way I get to really enjoy my life a little bit more. So it's called Teen and Tween Empowerment Coaching. It's a 12-week comprehensive program. One thing that's really cool about it is we check in between sessions. We are in contact. One of the things is I don't want you coming to me every week saying, here's 18 million things I need to download onto you. No, I want you actively digesting as it happens. That's really powerful because it builds that habit. And then if I can just say that one other thing that I'm really excited about is a program I do in schools, in person and virtually, which is called the Guidebook I Wish I Had. And I do a lot of different programs in schools. It's all on my website, dorianwk.com. But this one in particular, what are the things that I have in hindsight that I can give you and you can use in foresight for your foresight? It's very powerful to talk about mind, heart, body, spirit, all of those dimensions, relationships, boundaries, saying how you feel in a really honest, vulnerable, real way, so that some of what I went through, young people today don't need to go through. And adults have realized this. It's different when it's coming from me. And it took me a long
Listen, Dorian,
this is an asset, but now I do.
Dorian WK, DorianWK.com. I'm pulling his website out because I'm a visual person. So empowering teens and tweens to thrive. It doesn't matter what their race, what their religion, none of that matters. DorianWK.com. He wants to work with your teenager, your tweenager. Okay. He wants to work with you. And here are some of the videos and some of his school of thoughts. I went through and looked at a lot of the videos. And one thing that he says that is a quote from him is, we deserve to have new problems. We have to find a new place for that thing that's been plaguing us, that's been bothering us. This one thing is biting me. These are quotes from Dorian that I was able to get off of some of these videos that he shares. So you want to go and check out DorianWK.com and sign up for any of the programs that he's offering to our young people. And so I'm going to put this website here again, and I want to make sure that I pop it up here again as well. How you can follow him on all social media outlets, but let's make sure that we follow him on Dorian WK. He has on a hoodie because I was like, who is that? I was like, I ain't following him. And I realized that's you, Dorian. you got to put your regular photo on there for the older people. I'm like, I don't know who that is. I didn't even know that was you. Then I was like, oh, that's Dorian. Oh, okay, I got you. I followed you after I realized it was you. But so Dorian WK on all social media outlets, DorianWK.com. Sign your young people up. And are you still accepting young people now?
Yeah, I have a few spots. If you happen to be watching this from the San Francisco Bay Area, I have some spots in person, but on Zoom, the cool thing with Zoom is we can work it out. So oftentimes, my schedule is more limited because I work with students in the afternoons and on the weekends when they're not in school. But if there's a time zone switch, we can be crafty and we can make a spot available for your student. If you're somewhere in a different time zone, it's a little easier. So definitely wherever you are, I do have some spots open right now. I've cleared up my schedule a little bit to put some more time, energy, and attention into this, because as the comments have highlighted, this is the time. The need is big, and I'm committed, and I don't want to hold on. If I keep holding on to this, I'm going to explode. So I'm sharing it.
I'm grateful that you're sharing it. So thank you for sharing it here today on the Kim Jacobs Show. Are you working with them one-on-one, or are you doing this in group? In
that empowerment coaching, that's one-on-one coaching. So we really get to go at what is the thing, because I met with a few students this week, and every single one of them has something very different going on. And so I started out doing groups, and I still do groups, and you can look at the programs on my website, and I love working in groups. But the fact is, this empowerment is specific to what you need empowerment for, because that's specific to what challenge are you facing. So that's one of the reasons I moved into one-on-one, is we can do some really powerful work one-on-one that we just can't do in a group when everyone has a different need.
I love it. And I'm glad to hear that, because I was wondering, how's that going to work if all of the young people have such different things? So I'm encouraging every parent to make sure that you send your children, until he says he's just full and can't take any more. Definitely send your children there. www.dorianwk.com is how you can stay connected with Dorian. Okay, so that is going to be our episode for today. I want to make sure that I share with you all that tomorrow we're going to be having some people on that are directors from the network, Believe in Your Dreams television network. And we had 5 of them on. They host all kinds of amazing shows on this platform. And I can't wait for you to tune in tomorrow to hear from them. We have a great rest of the week lined up for you, so don't miss being in your virtual seats. And today, as I close out this episode, first of all, Dorian, thank you for being here today. You are absolutely a breath of fresh air, and I can't wait to put all of your quotes up. Just like we're putting Zig Ziglar's, Les Brown's, we're going to be putting Dorian WK's quotes up too. You know that, right?
I'm closing my eyes and seeing it now. And I just want to say thank you so much for chatting with me. This was so fun. This isn't work. This isn't hard. This is joy for me. It was 8 a.m. over in California when we started. I rolled out of bed. I did my meditation. I had my green juice, and I was just so excited because it's been a real joy talking with you. I've learned a lot. I've enjoyed seeing the comments. So I just want to say thank you very much. I've really enjoyed speaking with you.
Well, thank you. Hopefully by you saying all of this, somebody has subscribed to the Kim Jacobs Show on YouTube. And make sure you know that it's coming on the Believe in Your Dreams network very soon, so you'll be able to tune in there too. Listen, today is my dad's birthday, and he is in heaven. And so I just wanted to make sure that I say happy birthday, heavenly birthday to my dad, who would have been celebrating his birthday here today on this earth. But in the Palatka news, he was known as the People's Bishop in Palatka, Florida, and they did a tribute to him in today's newspaper. And it says, in memory of Apostle Dr. Elijah T. Jackson and his sunrise date and his sunset date, happy birthday. It's only been a few months since the Lord called you home to rest from your labor. My heart remains full of love and awesome memories of you. I really miss you and will always remember the times of worship, vacations, and family visits that we shared. We wish you a happy birthday with the Lord. So enjoy and rest in peace. And this is from his wife, Mrs. Ann Jackson. And so she put a tribute in the Palatka, Florida newspaper, and just wanted to make sure that I share that with you all today in honor of my dad. All right, Dorian, thank you. And thank you all so much for tuning in. Dorian, stay backstage so I can say one thing to you. And everybody, you guys have a wonderful day. Oh, I saw Dr. Nicole Peters pop on. Great show. Thank you so much, Hillary. And if I'm not mistaken, I know I saw a comment from you earlier, Nicole Peters, Dr. Nicole Peters, who is the head of Believe in Your Dreams television network. So thank you so much for gracing us with your presence today as well. Everybody have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bye-bye. Bye, darling. Hello, everyone. everyone. I'm Kim Jacobs, host of The Kim Jacobs Show, where we're bringing balance to the world one household at a time. Listen, we go live every weekday, Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I bring guests on that talk about their backstories, things that they've had to overcome to become who they are today. Many of them are balancing and juggling life, and they've become experts in different fields. So they're sharing tips with you to make your life just a little bit easier. Many times as a guest in the studio audience, you'll get a chance to walk away with a missing piece of the puzzle that might be missing in your life. Let's go on this journey together, and I look forward to seeing you Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on The Kim Jacobs Show.